when I was a kid. They weren't worried about X amount of bones, by the way. I was thinking it was an interior designer probably had something to do with that as bison, by the way. It's a nice cave. You get a couple bison on the wall, a couple of throw pillows, you know. The place would be really wonderful. Yeah. So, you know, interior designers needed a job back then. So, 32 vertebrae, 7 cervical vertebrae, notated by the final one in the back. Right there, that's it there, and you can feel it. By the way, anatomy is really one of those things that you want to learn something about anatomy. What is that? You know, why? That feels that bone, the clavicle, collarbone. Oh, it's really there. There's something there. You know, abdominal muscles, not on me. You know, my joke always is do your research. You know, if you want to find out what something is like anatomically, you touch yourself, touch your neighbors, ask permission first, maybe. That could be a lot of fun. I did all the research I possibly could when I was in school. All things are important. And if you can put the puzzle together, if you can get it straight up here, one of the big tricks of anything is, once again, if you can't draw anything, you don't know it exists. So once you start to learn more about what these elements are, what their actual shapes are, what their uses are, what their shapes really are, okay, then when we start drawing people and things like that, our skill level gets better, just because you know more about it. And then the world goes to hell in a handbasket, because eventually you've got to actually move it in the computer or something like that, realistically, which is, I will tell you from first-hand experience, quite a challenge. Some people are much better at it. Some people are gifted. The study of kinesiology is incredible. Okay, how do people move? Make it harder. How do animals move? We have 2 legs, they have 4. Twice as much work. Disney, of course, has been doing a lot of twice as much work for a long time, because almost all their characters are animals. Okay, figuring out proportions. Important aspect to anatomy. Proportions. You want to know how big a creature is in Jurassic Park. Put a person next to it. Okay, and you get an understanding of their scale. We know what a person's size basically is, although we're all different sizes. Look around the room, you can say that. But then your create a character, you do the next awful Godzilla movie, and this thing towers over the Art Institute of Houston building. And you don't know this, the creature itself is only this big. You can't tell how big it is until you have a person next to it. So scale and proportion are important aspects of anatomy. We are, if you study Da Vinci and the famous picture of the Vitruvian Man, you're looking at that, by the way, the front, arm outstretched. One was down, by the way, if you remember the drawing, the famous drawing. Supposedly we would fit, if the head to toe becomes a box, the arm stretch would be the same distance. Bit of a fallacy. It's close. In most cases, it's close. But not always exact. Because some people we have longer wingspans. Some people are just taller. And it was a proven fact here in this building. Some time back, I had 2, the original boss I had a million years ago, the very first person in the department chair position in graphics, was like 6'1" or 2. A fellow instructor, another good friend, 6'1" or 2. Could stand eye to eye, head to head, completely, the 2 of them exact same size, no doubt about it. Yet one could touch the ceiling with his hand, the other was missing it by an inch and a half, even though they're the same height. So proportions are important, but proportions, you'll find out by the study of drawing, the study of anatomy, do vary from person to person. And of course, one of the big tricks in drawing is to get a likeness, to get some semblance of what the figure actually looks like. And so one of the challenges is you have to kind of know what the figure basically looks like or is, and then you got to figure out, well, okay, if I've got the generic idea what the figure looks like, how does it differ? How does what I'm drawing differ from that generic? And then make those changes to your generic drawing. Because one thing you're going to see me do as we are drawing here in class is whenever I start the drawing of a figure, it's really a generic figure. It's not male, it's not female, it is just a figure. The proportions are just a standard, whatever is up here in the back of my head, whatever I think they are or have thought they are. And then actually, as we have more time to examine the form in front of us, I then have to make decisions in my drawing where the person or the person I'm drawing is different than the generic. You know, some people just have bigger heads than other people, honestly. Some people have bigger, Jay Leno chin. You know, some people have like the Homer Simpson thing where the nose is here, but the upper lip is like 3 miles down here. You know, some people just have a different shape there. My little brother has little squinty eyes. And I look at him and I wonder how he can see out of the darkness. He's got an itty nose, he's got a tiny nose. I don't have those features. Mm-hmm. Some people have really big noses. Jimmy Durante, fine example of that, or something like that. You know? And of course, that's what caricature artists do, by the way. The people that do those goofy things at the amusement parks and stuff. They just look at people and they think, what features does a person have that makes them stand out? And they're very quick at recognizing them, and they just accentuate those things. And then all of a sudden, oh, it's so funny, it looks just like me. And they put the generic figure around it, really, you know, and they're good at it. But they practice a lot. You got to spend, you know, summers all day long just sketching and drawing people. You get pretty good at it. It's really quite, you know, I have had friends that there actually was a caricature artist society of Texas. I knew some people that belonged to it. Didn't know it existed, but I happened to be at a meeting once where these guys got to talking. Man, they were a lot of fun. They had a good life, you know. Anatomy was important to them, even though they would change it and alter it, make it work for them. Back to your assignments. Of course, we're going to do 5 big assignments in the class. And we're going to do class drawings all the time. As I said, I'll talk and lecture and bore you for a while. And then ideally, we'll try to put into play what we'll talk about. As I said, I'm going to talk about proportion a lot today, and I will rip some of this down and put some paper up and do some sketching and drawing for you to see. Your first assignment is the hand. I even have some examples of it floating around here. I said 8 little carpal bones, and one thing about these little bones is they don't, you know, they're really little and small and difficult to see. A little challenging to research. Jerry Garcia, missing one finger. Great guitar player, but still missing the finger. Well, actually, he had that little bone too. I would do that much of the problem, by the way, in terms of the sketch. I would always add the radius and the ulna bone. Radius and the ulna. And keep in mind, this thing here that we're looking at, this plastic piece of junk, is